Hello, ma'am.
Good evening, miss.
Oh my god, no. Please, Mr. Vampire, don't kill me. Please, no. I'm too young to die. I still have so much to offer this world.
Wait, no. Why do you think I would... What?
Don't worry, Dr. Reid. I know you wouldn't harm me. Mother told me you were in this part of town and might drop by.
Your mother?
My name is Charlotte, sir. Charlotte Ashbury. My mother taught me long ago how to recognize the signs that betray a vampire.
I understand she also taught you how to tease and gently mock innocent young Ekons. It's a pleasure to meet you, Miss Charlotte.
So,
Tell me about your adoption.
What do you want to know?
Who are your real parents?
Elizabeth Ashbury is my real mother. She raised me and has taken care of me all my life. I have no idea who my progenitors are or were.
Do you live with her?
I still spend a lot of time in my mother's mansion, but I have my own house now. I have a life to live, you see. And one day, I'll have my death to face.
How did you meet Lady Ashbury?
First, I was an orphan in the institution for girls she manages in the West End. When I was 10, she adopted me, and I have lived with her ever since.
Did you know she was a vampire when she picked you?
The correct word is Ekon, Doctor. And no, I had no idea why my mother only showed up at night. She told me everything when I turned 16, though I suspected the truth for a long time before that.
huh.
What exactly has your mother told you about me?
Your name and profession, obviously, and the mystery about your maker. I'm sorry to hear about what happened to your sister, sir. Mother says it was not your fault.
Does it not scare you to know what I am? What your mother is?
Why should it? My mother is the most compassionate woman. Must I be wary of her, Dr. Reid? Or you?
No.
Of course not. You have nothing to fear from me, or your mother.
Good to know. And don't worry, my mother told me everything I need to know about vampire tricks, their nature as well as features.
Your mother is not like any other vampire I've met.
I believe she thinks the same about you, Dr. Reid.
Ooh. She did?
What do you think about this part of town?
I was raised here, and I suppose it feels like home. You grew up in this part of town too, did you not?
Yes, I was born a few streets away.
A small world, is it not? Did you ever imagine that my mother was your neighbor all that time? That you could have met her in a dark alley at night?
You won't trick me twice, young lady. We both know Lady Ashbury never hunts or attacks prey at random.
Come on, Doctor. Don't tell me you never thought about that possibility. Her fangs on your neck. Oh, are you blushing, Dr. Reid?
Is there something that's bothering you?
Too much selfishness and individualism for my taste. Even when there was no epidemic.
Even if that's partly true, may I remind you that many charitable institutions are financed by the selfish and filthy rich.
I suppose you're right. But society must reform and renew itself, or we are all done for.
What are you doing out here?
You mean, what do I do outside at night since I am a woman? Let me ask you a question, sir. Would you ask the same question of a man?
Actually, yes.
Yeah.
I ask the same question to everyone who dares to go outside at night, considering the risks.
Well, if you must know, I campaign for the right to vote for all women. Why should I wait to the age of 30 years when men can vote at 21?
So you're a suffragette?
Are you a suffragette, then? Oh, you really are Elizabeth's girl. Without a doubt.
All adult women have the right to vote in the US, in New Zealand, and in Australia. But women here can't vote unless they are property owners.
No need to convince me, Miss Charlotte. I have shared your opinion for a long time, even before I met Emmeline Pankhurst.
Really? Oh. Now I see why my mother appreciates you so much. Too bad there aren't more men like you in the vicinity.
How are the locals reacting to your claims?
People here can't wait for a wall to be built to isolate the West End from the rest of town. That's how progressive they are. If this happens, Emily and I will blow it up.
Explosives are very dangerous, young lady. And who is this Emily?
She is my best friend, and a suffragette too. She was supposed to campaign with me tonight, but hasn't turned up.
Have you any reason to be worried about her?
Recently, Emily started to believe in... well, she got interested in vampires. I'm afraid she might be in trouble.
Let me guess. You spoke to her about us, didn't you? Despite your mother's warning. I think I should try to find your friend.
Oh, that would be top-notch. I can tell you where she might have gone. You have my thanks, Dr. Reid. And please, don't tell my mother.
Okay.
Do you know why Lady Ashbury chose you to become her daughter?
No, I don't. Each time I ask her that question, she smiles and says it's precisely because I dare to ask such questions.
Do you ever regret that she chose you?
Of course not. Though I often wonder if she adopted others before me. If so, where are they buried? How was it for them to pass through life with a never-aging mother?
It's a good question. Ever thought about, I don't know, asking her?
I'm investigating the source of the epidemic in this district. Have you noticed anything unusual recently?
A few days ago, I spotted a strange house while campaigning for women's suffrage. Awful smell. No answer when I knocked.
Where is it?
It's the Mullaneys, a nice family who live in a big house near the park in the eastern part of this neighborhood.
Huh. Okay. Thank you.
Goodbye, Charlotte. Give my best regards to your mother when you see her.
She's been quite busy these last few nights. I suspect you may see her before me.
Good evening, sir. May I have your attention, please?
Come on, Johnny. Don't you recognize your oldest friend?
Clarence. Clarence Crossley. How are you? My God. So you survived the war too. So sorry I didn't recognize you at first.
I almost didn't recognize you either. War does that to men, I heard. In my case, it was true, for I witnessed the horror that lies underneath.
When did you escape the war and return to London?
You know what's funny? I almost never think about the war. Not anymore. I'm involved in another kind of battle now.
What is this new battle?
I saw terrible things during the war. Horrors I thought I'd forget. They're here too. They're everywhere. Vampires.
Okay.
How is your wife, Venus?
We've spent so much time away from each other. So many things have happened.
But you're alive. You returned in one piece and you have a family. How many soldiers can say the same?
Believe me, it's not quite that simple. Unlike you, I'm not the man I used to be.
Is everything all right at home? Surely Venus was relieved to see you return from France in one piece.
Have you forgot what people are like in this part of town, Johnny? Venus fears for our family reputation. Now her husband has become the village idiot.
I'm investigating the source of the epidemic in this district. Can you help me?
In infection is everywhere these days. But if you ever go to the park near that swanky house belonging to the Mullaneys...
Yes? What about the Mullaneys? What about their house?
Not enough noise for a big family with children. Not enough movement. Closed doors. What is going on in there? I wonder.
You need some rest, Clarence. You should try to sleep.
Women's right to vote is only the first step.
Need to buy
Men and women.
Good evening, sir. Please forgive me for disturbing you. I'm a doctor.
I never judge a man by his title, but by his attitude. And you are not disturbing me at all. I am Calhoun Russell, and I welcome you.
Well, I must admit it's good to receive a warm welcome for once. I'm Jonathan Reid.
Welcome, Dr. Reid. Welcome to my humble shop.
What can you tell me about this place?
I recently found the best steak and kidney pie in the city. I'd be glad to share the address if you want.
I must confess, I have quite specific tastes when it comes to nutrition.
Really? Well, I'm always happy to try new exotic meals. If you ever find an intriguing table, please share the address.
Is it not a little too late to be trading?
On the contrary, it is the perfect hour. Believe me, my friend, it is always at night that you meet the most fascinating characters.
But what about the epidemic? The bombs and raids? And all the random violence?
Please, sir, this is London, England. We will prevail. And if a bomb must fall on my shop, then I'll be there to hear it falling.
So you prefer to work at night?
Oh, I also enjoy a sunny day like everybody else. But the night always has a certain je ne sais quoi of its own.
Do you have any family nearby?
Not since my parents died. I'm London's lone gourmet.
Really? But you seem to be such a pleasant and sociable fellow.
I'm afraid the real hedonist has to be sometimes. I discovered ecstasy as a solitary pleasure, but it does not mean it can't ever be shared.
London's lone gourmet. What a strange title.
I used that name in my early years when I was a food critic, and I kept it.
I'm investigating the source of the epidemic in this district. Have you noticed anything unusual?
Not really. Wait, now that you mention it, I don't see the McPhersons in my favorite restaurants. They love delicate meals too, you understand.
Thank you. It may be nothing, but I'll investigate anyway. Where do they live?
They have a house in the southern part of the district, somewhere north of the railway bridge. There is a courtyard, if I remember rightly.
Women die too in this war.
Reid's mansion.
Promote the equality between men.
Is this our home? Old letter. Reid Mansion, 8th March 1908. My dear Avery, as I already told you several days ago, I may be forced to leave England, if only for a few months. While I'm away, and until my son comes back to England, I want you to take the best care of our house. I already made the entire necessary arrangements to have our wages increased and paid as long as you'll work. You promised me you'd protect my dear wife, and served her to the best of your ability. For that I thank you from the bottom of my heart. If I am never able to return, you are the only man I fully trust. Believe me, your most affectionate friend, Aubrey Reid. Hello.
Good evening, Avery.
Mr. Jonathan, I can't believe my own eyes. Oh, you have come back too late, sir. Far too late.
I know, Avery. I know about Mary and my mother.
I'm so sorry. It was my duty to watch over her. She left the house in the middle of the night. The police said...
It's all right, Avery.
The police said her body was found near your sister's grave in Whitechapel. You're the master of the house now. I'd understand if you fired me, sir.
Why would I fire you?
What is the situation in this part of town?
For a time, the West End seemed spared by the epidemic. But the situation is getting much worse.
Have you no relatives anywhere? I'll understand if you want to take a few days to see family.
Your father managed to guarantee my earnings as long as I take care of this house, sir. My sisters are dead, and I've never met my nephews. I'll stay, sir.
How was life in this house while I was away?
It was sad, sir. Miss Mary moved here in July after she lost her baby and husband. So I stayed to serve both her and your mother.
How was my mother?
Miss Reid was very frail. After Miss Mary was found dead, your mother started talking to herself. She said she was speaking to the dead. She even said that she had seen you.
How was Mary?
Miss Mary went out looking for you every night after you had written to say that you were coming back. She was sure you were alive. She'll never know she was right.
Well... felt that.
I'm sorry I could not be here for Mary's funeral.
Your mother was strong, sir, but your support would have been appreciated. Apart from the priest and I, no one else attended your sister's funeral.
To be present at the funeral with you both was my dearest wish, Avery. But I'm sorry, I simply could not attend.
I would not dare to question your absence, Mr. Jonathan. All I can say is that we missed you a great deal during these difficult days.
What are the arrangements for my mother's funeral?
There will be no funeral, sir.
What?
No ceremony whatsoever, because of the sanitary situation.
Where is her body then?
I'm afraid your mother's body was moved to a mass grave somewhere. I have no other information. Civil service is paralyzed, sir, and London is crumbling down.
Son of a bitch.
Tell me the truth, Avery. Do you feel forced to stay here? Would you leave this house without the arrangement made by my father?
No, sir. I have nowhere else to go. And I promised your father I'd take care of his family as long as I lived.
This house is dead, Avery. There is a curse on this family. You really should consider leaving.
If only you could have been here sooner or more often. Maybe this house would not be that empty. But you're here now, sir. So my task is not over.
You have served this family extremely well, Avery. Your support during these terrible times is much appreciated.
Then I will stay. All I ask is that you take care of my own funeral if I die before the end of the epidemic. No mass grave, please, sir.
Do you really think I neglected my mother, Avery?
Yes.
I see. Well, please go on. Speak freely. It's not as if there is anything left to treasure in this house.
Just like your father, you always had this capacity to focus only on what interests you. It surely helped you become a great doctor, but not such a great son.
Well, at least you're honest with me.
I'm currently investigating sources of the epidemic in this part of town. Do you know anything useful?
Not really, except all the Macphersons' servants resigned a few days ago. They feared becoming infected, they said.
The Macphersons? Where do they live?
I think it's a rich house near the railway bridge in the southern part of the district.
Thank you, Avery. We'll talk later.
Your bedroom is ready as always. Good night, sir.
This is despicable.
It's not that bad. Or dramatic. Huh. Well, oh shit. That painting scared the fuck out of me. I thought that was just a little girl staring at me.
This woman's body has multiple lacerations. They're deep, too. Whoever did this was driven by rage.
Fun. Oh shit. Oh shit, 2 victims.
He had his tongue removed and his eyes gouged out. He was a victim of brutal torture.
Ooh.
This one's neck is broken. He was young. Probably the son.
I can see that dude's heartbeat, so I know this is just gonna be a jump scare. Oh, well, you're not a dude.
You thought I was dead too, didn't you? No, I was just pretending. Doris told me I could have been a great actress.
You killed your family.
They mocked my talent.
Damn. She fucked me up. Aubrey Reid's first letter. My dear and beloved John, when you receive this letter, you will be 35 and I'll be long gone. I feel a little silly writing this first letter that you won't read for a few years. I struggled for a long time about how best to write you this, until I remembered the puzzle and riddles I invented for you when you were a boy. Oh, how you loved to solve those enigmas. Well, I found it would be a good idea to propose to you one final game. It'll probably be less rewarding, no candies or exotic treasures for you if you decipher the game, this time. But a greater treasure, perhaps. The truth. This is my one and only attempt for you to explain why I chose to leave my family without an explanation. If you want to know why, simply play the little game. It's really up to you, my son. Rest assured that I love you. I promised my family was and still is everything to me. I remember the first time I held you and your sister in my arms, my treasures, my jewels. To see you grow up, play and laugh filled my heart with joy every time I went back home. I could have killed to protect you, my son, my daughter, my wife. But fate found me in the end, and I had to make a tough decision. The worst was to disappear without a word. I decided to do it anyway, and soon I'll be gone for good. I don't ask for forgiveness, but for understanding. If you want to know more, all you have to do is remember how happy you were back in those days. If you want to find the next message, think green grass and tall trees on sunny Sundays. From your affectionate father, Aubrey Reid.
I remember Sunday walks in the park. Hello? Is anyone there?
Jonathan, is that you? I did not know you were back in London. Oh, my dear Johnny, I'm so sorry for your loss. Mary was such a sweetheart.
Thank you, Venus. May I come in?
I was going to
Oh,
bed,
you're
actually.
Venus. that's
I'm
Mia.
sure you can spare me a few minutes. For old time's sake.
Of course you may enter, Jonathan. I'm so sorry for your loss, Jonathan.
It's a pleasure to see you again, Venus.
So you returned from the war in one piece too. Thank God. My Clarence is back home too.
How is the old rascal?
Probably outside, chasing ghosts and chimeras. Clarence has changed a lot since he returned from the war, you know.
How have you been since the last time we met? How long has it been? 3 years now?
I've done my duty, like all British women. You have no idea what it was like to wait for months without knowing if I'd still be a wife or a widow.
I understand. Luckily, this part of town has been saved from the worst of the bombings, from what I've seen.
Yes, and it's also true about the epidemic. The flu has killed here too, of course, but not on such a large scale as in other parts of town.
Have you noticed anything peculiar about the neighborhood recently?
You mean except for your return to town? No. Oh, and again, Jonathan, please accept my condolences for your mother and your sister. Such a tragedy.
Thank you, Venus. It was so sudden, and I've been so busy, I haven't spoken to anyone about it.
I wish I could have assisted at the funeral, but you know, it's been so quick. And what with the epidemic in the streets?
There's no need to apologize, my dear. It's normal, considering the circumstances.
No, it's not. I am sure that Clarence has not even thought to present you his condolences. He is too busy with his penny dreadful stories.
Why is my return so surprising?
It's more an unexpected happy end than a surprise. You and Clarence, back from the war. You have no idea how hard it's been for me.
Venus, why do you worry so much about your family's reputation?
Everyone laughs at Clarence now. And they avoid me because they believe I share his insane opinions. I'm a leper in my own community.
Tell me about Clarence's obsession with vampires.
It drives me so crazy it makes my stomach hurt. I was so relieved to have him back. But I quickly realized he'd lost his mind in France.
I understand your irritation, Venus. But you have to accept the trauma Clarence endured on the battlefield.
The question is simple, Jonathan. Is my husband mad? Yes or no? Do vampires exist? Or is Clarence a lunatic?
So you don't believe Clarence?
If poor Mary, bless her soul, had tried to convince you of the existence of bloody vampires, would you have believed her? Seriously?
The important question is, what do you really think of your husband?
I'm tough, Jonathan. He should have told me the horrors he witnessed, however appalling it was, instead of inventing a fantasy about blood-drinking monsters.
Goodbye for now.
July 1918. I spent the last days and nights crying tears of joy. I did not know how bliss could be so painful. My Clarence just wrote me. He's back from the war, alive and unharmed. He'll be home in 2 weeks. Thank you, God. Thank you so much. I can't wait to see my beloved husband again. 14th of August. Clarence's attitude still worries me. He's not the same since he came back. The first few weeks, I thought it was just a necessary adjustment period for his behavior. but his behavior seemed to be more and more erratic. Nowadays he spends all his time outside, day and night, searching for evidence. He does not care about the flu, he does not care about me. He's starting to frighten me. 21st of September. I can't believe this. Clarence spent half his pension to print some stupid leaflets he now wants to freely give away in the neighborhood. People are starting to laugh at me. Now he wants to organize some public lecture in a recently closed theater to warn people about the presence of evil creatures in London. Free entry, of course. My husband may have come back unharmed from the war, but I'm afraid he has lost his mind over there. 24th of September. Clarence just confessed he has not spent half his pension, but all of it, plus some of our savings. Paper and inks cost so much because of the war, he said, but it is the cost we must pay. People openly mock us now. I do not know what to do. 5th of October. Today the butcher, Mr. Galloway, sent me the monthly fee and requested payment in full. He also told me he demands to be paid each time we buy some meat from his shop. No more credit. The baker asked the same thing 2 days ago. First, I thought it was a new policy because of the restrictions and the epidemic, but it seems my friends and my financial arrangements from the same shop. I was so ashamed I could not speak. 8th of October. We can't keep on like this. Clarence is completely mad. He is spending all the money we have, and I don't see how to stop him. Sometimes I wish he did not come back from the war.
You give me no other choice, Clarence.
Is she trying to poison him?
Yes, my love, it's a new tea I bought. Not too bitter for your taste, I hope. Drink your tea, my love. Drink it to the last drop. And shut your damn trap for good.
Huh. I was trying to find Emily, but okay.
What?
To not, poison your husband, please?
Why are you poisoning your husband?
He has spent a fortune printing his bloody papers. I can't stand this nightmare anymore. We are the butt of everyone's jokes since he returned.
If you're so frustrated by Clarence's behavior, why don't you just leave him?
I have already lost the best years of my life because of him. I will not jeopardize my future for some lunatic. He goes, and I inherit what's left.
I was the best man at your wedding. I remember your love for him. It was so beautiful. I cried. And now you've killed him.
Don't try to send a shiver down my spine, Dr. Reid. You were always on your own, and you kept emotions at bay. All for facts, remember? Well, deal with this one.
What the hell? I can use her balcony to get up here.
No invitation is needed to enter this building. That can't be a good sign. No sign of a struggle. It seems Charlotte's friend knew the killer and let him in.
The killer? Why do we assume she's dead? Oh. Well, there's a little bit of blood. A little bit of blood there too. But she might still be alive. Come on, Jonathan. Emily's love letter. My dear Jacques, I can't wait to see you again. Tonight, tomorrow, I can hardly wait since we've kissed on the bridge while the moon was so bright in the night sky. I want to feel your teeth again on my lips. Oh, the excruciating pain of your sweet bite on my neck, the devil you. Ah, for the longest second ever I feared you were going to kill me right there, on the bridge in the middle of the night. But no, my dear Jacques, he must be a vampire. You remain the delicate fiancé I know you are, and you were only teasing me. I can't wait to drink your blood for good this time and come back to my sweet friend Charlotte as an immortal. To play with her a little first, of course, like you taught me how to play with mortals, and then I'll turn her into one of us too, and we will rule the Knights of London and cleanse the city of impure souls. Faithfully always, Emily. Whoa, that's a lot to unpack. So, wait, you have a lover. His name is Jacques. Y'all are engaged. He's a vampire. You want him to turn you immortal, and then you want to go turn Charlotte immortal, and immortal is her mother. There's so much going on
Emily
here.
wanted to become a vampire. Something must have gone wrong. Someone is responsible for this mess. But who?
Well, it's just a little bit of blood. I still think you're just a little bit, pulling the trigger a little early. Come on. She might be alive, right?
Blood. I should follow the trail.
Is that her? Who are you?
Who are you? What are you doing here?
I could ask you the same question.
You're Jacques,
I'm the
aren't
Marquis
you?
de Bois-Colombes, and I strongly invite you to find your own game, sir.
I intend to do so very soon, thank you. But for the moment, I'd like to shed light on the death of a young woman killed by a vampire.
A young woman killed by a vampire? Oh, you're joking, right? Oh, I do love the British sense of humor.
You're
And
Jacques,
who
right?
exactly are you?
I am Jacques-Michel Guillaume Florimond, the Marquis de Bois-Colombes, at your service, my dear cousin.
You're French, but your English is quite good.
I was born in France, sir, but I consider myself a traveler of this world. So many countries, so many tantalizing tastes.
Dear cousin, are we related?
We could be of the same blood, my dear. I tend to consider all Econs as family, don't you?
No.
What are you doing here?
I recently decided to visit London. I've always dreamed of visiting a city on the verge of collapse. Such a delicate, yet intense spectacle.
You take pleasure from others' misery.
I have been a totally depraved and immoral creature since the day I was reborn, sir. And probably before.
What do you plan to do here?
Take pleasure. Take pictures. Enjoy the show. Have fun. Believe me, I won't be the only foreign immortal who bought a ticket to the fair.
I followed the trail of blood from her room to here.
Oh, you're referring to that young woman. Yes, the meeting turned messy. I'm afraid I ruined my last redingote.
So you admit
is
you
redingote?
murdered her?
Redingote. Noun. A double-breasted topcoat with a full skirt.
I admit nothing, my good sir. I only regret the blood of that girl staining my clothes. Oh, blood can be so messy.
What happened?
She wanted to become one of us. Not the first time I have received such a proposal, but I must admit her direct approach tempted me.
And then what?
The body rejected my blood. It happens, you know, sometimes even with voluntary prey. At least her gurglings brought me some fun, until the artery burst.
I believe you, sir. Emily's diary confirms your statement.
Oh, Emily was her name. Quite charming. Well, mystery solved then.
Yes, I suppose so. You can go.
And so can you. Farewell, sir. May you enjoy the spectacle of this fallen city as much as I do.
He just... Oh, I thought he fucking disappeared. What are you even trying to do to her? Sick bastard. Whatever, I'm gonna go tell Charlotte what happened.
I have found out what happened to your friend, Emily.
I can handle the truth. There's no need to hide the bloody details.
Your friend was planning to become a vampire. She thought she'd met an honest one and made a deal with him. Unfortunately, Emily did not survive the process.
My mother told me many times about the risks of being turned. I often suspected she exaggerated the danger to avoid me being tempted.
No, the risk is real. Have you any idea what a body has to endure to become an organism entirely consumed by its need to process and recombine blood?
I should never have talked to Emily about vampires. I never thought she'd actually try it without me. Thank you, sir. Here, take this for your discretion.
Oh, thank you.